Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have another really heavy amplifier to repair. Dynacord PM2600 PowerMax controlled amplifier. Now you can see this has two channels, A and B, and it has level controls for equalizer section, okay, low and high. It also has, if you like, on the meters here, channel A and B. You see channel A low and high, channel B low and high. So I think this is effectively like a bi-amp stereo one though, so 4 amplifiers in here. So how I imagine this working, you feed the audio level in on each channel, and then you can effectively, with these controls, you split it into 2 internal amplifiers, one for the bass speakers, one for the horn speakers, and that's why we have the 2 sets of meters here, okay, for each channel. I've not seen one like this before. I'm sure they are around, yeah, but I've not seen one before. Obviously they are around because I have one, and it's very heavy, I will say. It has an on-off switch on the front, and that's about it. And looking on the back, we can see pretty much what I said. So we have the left and right channel inputs, and then we have 2 outputs for channel A and 2 outputs for channel B. And these speak-on connectors, as they're called, actually have 4 poles in them, 4 connections. So you can see it's marked here. Pin 1 plus and minus is the low output, the sub output, and pin 2 plus and minus is the high output. So imagine what you would have is you'd have your subwoofer plugged into either of these connectors on this channel, wired between pin 1 plus and minus on the plug, and you would have your horn speakers or the higher frequency cabinets plugged in, wired on pins 2 plus and minus. It doesn't matter which one you plug in where, the correct amplifier connects to the correct speaker, and the same for the other channels. So that's what I think we have. We can have a bit of a look on here. Yeah, so you're saying high pass and low pass filter, and then a high limit and a low limit, high amp and low amp, speaker and speaker. So that's exactly what I described, and that's what we have in here, 4 amplifiers. I have no idea what is wrong with this actually. I think he might have said it was dead, or it had protection areas on everywhere. I think it might have been that one. So with an amplifier like this, I don't generally just plug them in to see what happens. I would rather open them up first and have a look for anything obvious, short circuits on output devices, that sort of thing. And if it looks okay enough to power up, I will power it up. So let's get this thing open and let's see what's inside it. I should imagine quite a lot of stuff, and quite a lot of big stuff. Okay, let's look. And here we have it. So we have this PCB at the front. I'm fairly confident this will be the part that does the equalization section, splitting the signals into the high and the low, possibly. Okay, we have 2 large pork pie transformers, we can see down there, and then we have these 2 PCBs on this section. This is obviously the large smoothing capacitors. We also have on here, I can see relays, 1, 2, 3. I'm sure the other one is under there. Yep, 4 relays. So that is the protection circuit, or at least the relays for the protection circuit. We can see those. I'm looking around now. So what else I see? I see looks like a big transistor here, possibly acting as a voltage regulator. That one says fan speed adjust. Maybe this is actually just driving the fans. Fuse there. Just on this board, we don't have the same on this side, so that appears to be like a one-off. Probably is to do with the fan, possibly that's what the fuse is for. And 2 more here. Down there, you can probably see 2 more big transistors, again, which only exist on this board. This looks like it may have more relays here. 1, 2, 3. Look like relays at least. What else do we have? Well, down in there, I guess you can probably see them. We have 2 large bridge rectifiers. I would imagine those are on the high voltage rails, 1 for each amplifier. So effectively we have 2 sets of bi-amps here, as I said. And looking, yeah, further in, I'll have to guess where you can see it, guys. Can you see down there? Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 amplifier modules. So that's where the output stages are. That means I probably have to get further into this before we can make any sort of checks that I want to make. I'm just looking here now. So we have a blue, a red and a grey wire, 2 sets of them. The blue and red from one set go to one bridge rectifier, one to the other. So that will be the plus and minus supply rail, and the grey, that must be the centre tap or the ground. So we can have a look on here for short circuits. That's a good place we can start. Do we have any shorts on the outputs from this bridge rectifier? They should go to these large capacitors. So actually what we should say here is capacitors charging up. Let's have a look. Ohms range. The grey wire here, I'm pretty sure this will be chassis ground as well. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, that's chassis ground also. So let's find the red and the blue. Do we have any shorts? They come up here. This is one of them, red. So this is your positive voltage supply, the high voltage supply, okay? And the blue one here. So we don't see any short circuit there. That means we probably don't have short circuit devices on both positive and negative half of the amplifier in the main transistors down there, okay? Let's look at this one, because this is a separate power supply. So probably the greys are connected together. It's all one common ground. Let's have a look. Where's the grey wire? Yeah, you'd expect that to be the case. And then on the red and blue, again, we see resistance climbing up. That's the capacitors charging. Blue, the same. So I don't see any short there. I don't have any real concern about powering this up. I probably should check the fuses over here, but I think these are just to do with the fan control. But while I'm here, these transistors back here now, I'm just looking at this. So we have 2 fuses, we have 2 smoothing capacitors, and 2 which look like transistors. It's highly likely this will be a plus and minus 15 volt supply, which is what you would normally have to all the input circuitry on here. Obviously I don't know for certain, but it seems reasonable. If I remove this PCB, it will be a little bit easier to see as well. So let's do that. Okay, yeah, you can see a little bit better now. Let's have a look. Well, certainly the mystery, if it was a mystery at all, was solved, because we can see here plus and minus 15. So that was a very good guess on my part. Really, the reason I thought that was 2 fuses, 2 smoothing capacitors, and it looks symmetrical, effectively, a symmetrical circuit. These will probably be an NPN and a PNP transistor. I don't think they're actually voltage regulators. It looks like it's effectively probably got Zener diodes down here and forms a voltage regulator, but with discrete components. Yeah, can't say for definite, but it looks very much like that. So we can do some things with this now. We can power this up. We can have a look to see if we've got plus and minus 15, which will probably be on the emitters of these. I'll have to have a look. Okay. And we can have a look to see what voltage we have on the high voltage rail, the red and blue. Okay, let's try it. I'm not going to plug this directly into the mains because I don't really know what condition it's in. Although there was no short circuits here, there could be short circuits further down the line in the output amplifier modules basically. So we've put the light bulb on. You can see it there just underneath me on the screen. Just there beneath me. Don't ask where my legs are. But I'm not sitting on the light bulb really. Okay, so we'll just power this up and we'll see what that bulb does. If it comes on bright and stays on bright, I think we need to investigate why. If it comes on bright and starts going dimmer, that's a very good sign. Okay, so power's on. Let's switch it on and let's see what it does. bright then going dim, so it's not got a short anywhere. So I'm going to power this up now. I'm going to get the other camera where you can see the front panel. Let's see what the LEDs do, let's see what the limit lights do, etc. Okay, we are ready to go. Power on. Well, it powered up. Okay, we just have the power light on, the relays have clicked, all the things have gone out. So the amplifier does power up. I seem to recall now, actually, the guy brought me in this, said it was something wrong with the sound, like a boof noise or something strange he was describing with it. I'm not sure how well I can test this, given the speakers I have here, which are small speakers. But let's connect an audio signal, let's try it, let's see what we get out of it in the way of sound, and let's see if we can find any way to reproduce some sort of fault. In order to test this, I need to connect some speak-on connectors to my speakers. All I can really do is connect one speaker to the high output and one to the low output and see if they both work. This is a speak-on connector. Now you can see this one says NL2FC, and this only has 2 poles. Can you see down there? The 2 poles of the connector. So not all speak-on connectors have the 4 poles that we need. I can just show you actually a bit closer than that. So here is another one. This is another one of the 2 FC. To open these up, basically you have to push this thing in and slide this forwards. And you can see now this one has 2 wires and we have connections in there. And this will go to 1 plus and 1 minus. We can look at another one. This one is a NL4FX, so I'm fairly sure this one has both connections. It's saying here 2 minus 2 plus. Let's have a look. Okay, so this one, yeah, you can see there are 4 connections in here. Okay, and these 2 are marked as 2 minus and 2 plus. So if I connect 2 pairs of wire to this and then plug them in, and I connect 1 pair to each of my speakers, then that should effectively allow me to drive 2 speakers from each channel of this amp, if you like. Okay, so we'll use this one, and that's something you just need to bear in mind, that these things are not all the same. One other thing I've noticed is this isn't laid out exactly as I thought. First of all, this is all one large PCB, it's not 2 PCBs. This one actually says front BH, front AH. So I'm thinking this is channel A high frequency, channel B high frequency. Front is just telling you where those connectors are going to the front panel. And then we can see on the other one clearly now, front AL and front BL. So again, this is to the front panel, A channel low, B channel low. So these are the 2 low frequency amps and these are the 2 high frequency amps. I'm just checking how this is wired up now. So you can see this is where the speak-on connectors go. Okay, and I'm just having a look down there. You have on the right hand ones, you have a white wire. You can see it now coming in. You have a white wire and you have a blue wire. Okay. So that's feeding one of the low channels, front B low must be this one, and front B high. So those 2 channels there are feeding these 2 here. And you can see they're on different connections on the speak-on connector. So just looking at the back, it's a bit hard to show you guys, but the top connection, this one I can see are marked as 1 plus and 1 plus, and then I think the other 2 across here are 1 minus and 2 minus, and then the blue at the bottom will be the 2 plus. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, I'll try to get some light down there for you guys. Can you see it now? So the white wire goes to 1 plus, the other one goes to 2 plus, And then effectively the 1 minus and 2 minus are connected together, just like a common ground, if you like, for each speaker, which makes sense. So I'm going to wire up one of these connectors, and you can see it doesn't matter whether I plug it into this one or this one, because they're wired across each other. Okay, so I can test one side first, like side B, high and low, and then we can test side A, high and low. I only have a handful of speak-on connectors, so I tend to repurpose them as I go along. On this one, the brown wire is connecting to 1 plus, so we can just put 1 meter probe on there. And then the other end, you see I have 2 bits of wire just sticking out. These are what I normally just connect onto the terminals on the back of my speaker if I'm not testing the speaker with a speak-on socket. Okay. So one of these wires, probably this yellow one, goes to, yeah, 1 plus, okay, and then the blue one will go to 1 minus. Yes. And then I need to connect another cable basically to 2 plus and 2 minus. And on the other end of that cable, I just want wires like this to clip onto my other speaker, okay? There we have it. So I've connected another cable, the white one, okay, so that can connect the 2 speakers up now. Let's see if this thing is working. We can just check first. We don't have any short circuits, so you can clearly see the 4 poles in here. I can test from each of the wires now. So yellow one should go to one of these 4. Not sure which one, but I'm sure I will soon find out. That one, it doesn't go to any of the others. There's no, well, I can test for shorts at the other end of the wire. So that goes to there. Blue one. We'll go to one of the outer connections. There. Okay. And from my other wire, brown, we'll go to the other one of the inner poles, I'm pretty sure. Yep, that one. And then blue will go to the other one of the outer poles. Yeah, I had it. Just a bit difficult to make a contact on it, but I do have it. It is there. Okay. And then we can just double check now. So there shouldn't be any short between here and here. That's good. And the same to the other. To the blue. Brown to blue is okay. Yeah. And lastly to the yellow one is okay. Is okay. And then no shorts across this one. It's all okay. I'll power this up again then with the speakers attached to it now. Okay, powered up. Let's give it some audio input and see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, what's happening is I'm getting the bass out of this one and the treble out of that one. So those 2 channels are operating. Now let's try the other 2. Okay, I'm now plugged into the other channel. You can see, power back on again. What's this doing? Okay. The same. So the problem I have now with this is that it is working, yeah, basically. But obviously the customer brought it in for some reason, so we need to decide what to do about it. You guys know I'm not a audio amplifier repair specialist, I'm a fixer. You know I only ever claim to be a general purpose fixer, yeah? I think what the guy was saying with this is it was making like a boomf noise. That's the best way we describe that boomf noise. And I don't know enough about it really to get much further than this. I don't have dummy load set up here. I can't run very loud music here. I'm in a shopping centre, so I am somewhat limited. You know, I can test if an amplifier is working, but it's then down to the customer to run it in anger and see how well it works, yeah, at high power. I suspect the problem with this is probably, from what the guy is describing, going to be capacitors, electrolytic capacitors. It's quite old, and in my experience, when you get strange noises, popping and bumping noises and sort of noises, then it's usually capacitors, but that is just a case of usually, yeah. So what I'll do is with this now, you probably will see this again quite shortly, is I'll ask him if he can test whether or not it's working on both channels. So like, is it just one channel or the other that's causing the problem? And can he tell me by disconnecting various speakers if it's the high or the low frequency that has the problem, yeah? If he can pin this down a bit more, hopefully we'll pin it down to one channel. Once we get it down to one channel, if we do, then the way I would probably tackle this next would be to swap over two of the output modules, the things that live underneath here. So the one that we think is bad, I will swap it to one of the ones that we think is good and try it again, yeah? And that should tell us something. So if we still have the problem on the same channel, then we can say the fault isn't an amplifier module. And if we have a problem on a different channel, we can say, is that the one we swapped it to? So this is a way to break down the problem into a manageable area, okay? And if we get to that, say the problem is, I'm guessing, on one of the low frequency, I don't know. Last time I had a bi-amplifier thing, which you possibly saw in the video. I link from this one doing these sort of things. It was actually on the high output amplifier that had the problem, okay? So you can watch that, you'll see how I fix that. And I'm going to tackle this in the same way. I just need a bit more information. Once we say do get it down to one amplifier here or one of the outputs, I would then go for electrolytic capacitors, all of them on that stage, yeah, to see if that's what the problem is. I think that's by far the quickest way to tackle this sort of fault. But as I started, I am not an audio amplifier repair expert. Given the amount of these things I'm now seeing coming into the workshop, and I think it's because Power Sound, they emptied their unit out here sometime last year. They've disappeared. I don't know if they're still trading or trading from somewhere else, but I seem now to be getting more and more of these sort of things to repair. So if that continues, I need to find a better way to test them. I need more test equipment. And I can go and Google, but I can ask you guys down there, yeah. How would I be able to improve my setup to give me better chance of testing this sort of stuff? Bearing in mind I don't get these every day of the week, so there's some sort of cost versus result payoff to be done here, yeah. But maybe I do need something better than what I have. I'm happy to publish this video anyway, giving you guys some ideas how to break the problem down at least, even though we can't do much more today. You know something about speak-on connectors now. If you didn't know before, you know exactly how those are wired up. So if you ever come across this sort of thing, you'll understand it. You'll know how you need to connect your speakers. Anything else you're interested in knowing about this? Once again, comments below. And I look forward to seeing you all soon on another Learning Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.